You can hear me like that if I'll put my phone like this. I don't know. I'm not looking as cute as always because I just woke up and I'm having my cup of coffee. But I wanted to say that, as you maybe can have experience, you can go through different emotional states. You can go through like a positive one, like through a happy one, through a negative one, through a very depressing one. And it's like, sometimes like maybe a little bit further you go, you are like, okay, I have to stay positive, even if I drown. I have to stay positive and stuff like that. And when you're going through negative states, you may think like, okay, I have to get rid of them. You may try to get to your positive state. You will try to like do the stuff that makes you positive. You can try to do different stuff, but things like I would say maybe you can run from that depressive state just to, if you're like always maybe in depressive state and you're like, okay, like you have to kind of get out from it. But it's like if you're always in a positive state and you're going through a depressive state, I would say just kind of use it, as like every other emotion. As you use your positivity for like creating or for making other people happy. Let's say you're in a positive state and you're like, okay, let me take some candies with me and I'll just give it out to different kids and different kids will be happy too and stuff like that. And you made not only your day, and due to the fact that you made your day, you made some other people's day too. It's like to some degree you use that energy, right, of positivity. But maybe when you're going through a depressive state, you can also use the depressive state as something that you can use. You don't have to run from it and be like, oh, I'm going through a depressive state. All these thoughts that I have are not mine. I got them, blah blah blah, and I have to get rid of them. Let me just ignore them. All this like depressive stuff is just because I'm in a depressive state, and all these thoughts are still popping up though, but you're just kind of running from them. I would say try to kind of use it, like for example, okay, you're in depressive state, right? I would say like, okay, because I was also like, this was the triggering of the video low-key, because yesterday I thought that I will be in a positive mode when I will smoke, because I didn't smoke in a long time, and I would be like, okay, I will just blaze a zoot, get like, I will be like more kind of in the moment, and then I would be not happy, but I would be more in the moment. And usually when I'm more in the moment, I'm just like, I don't give a shit about nobody and I just do what I want to do, stuff like that. And I thought yesterday is gonna be like one of those days, but actually yesterday turned out to be me going on the depressive side of it, being ashamed of my actions, being ashamed of the stuff that I did, being ashamed of to the people who I talked to, or the stuff that I told them, or the stuff how I even express myself, even like the name that you maybe no, like the name that I have on Instagram or the name that I have on YouTube here on this like YouTube that I'm making this video for, made me kind of feel in some type of way. I hope I didn't close the dynamic or like the stuff that you can hear me with. So yeah, and then I went through those stages and I was like, at the first I was like kind of trying to run away from it, and I was trying to find the stuff that triggered those depressive emotions for me to kind of get out from it. Would be like, okay, this was the triggering point, and just from that on trying to take over the triggering point and just go with a positive flow already. But even though maybe I kind of tried to find the trigger point, I to some degree found it, but I still was feeling kind of still depressive. And I was like, okay, let me just use this depressive stuff to my advantage. And everything, all the depressive ideas that I was getting, just like that, based on me just looking in different points and thinking about different stuff, I was getting more and more like depressive thoughts. Not depressive, but like some those lower nature thoughts, right? And I was like, and when they were popping up, I was just like, like let's say, I was just observing them, right? I was just observing them, and yeah, I was just observing them, and I don't know. was just kind of telling myself like, yeah, it's a like as always I'm telling myself like just go forward, don't care about other people. I know you're like, even though sometimes maybe the stuff that I'm doing at home is not visible for the people outside, and they need some proofs of that, what I'm doing inside in my home or something for myself. They need proofs for that, for them to be like, okay, yeah, he actually is good, let's say at drawing or like making music. They need physical representations of that. And at some points I don't even have to explain them, because I'm having this like thought of me being in that space of me knowing that I can do this without all the physical proofs for them, because I know for myself that I know it, And yeah, so I was actually like, with that thought, I was fighting all the depressive thoughts. I had the depressive thought pulling up, and I was like, okay, this depressive thought tells me that I have to be ashamed of my name, because my name is kind of strange, and I'm living in the around the people who are, let's say, normal to some degree, where even my name on Instagram and the stuff that I post on Instagram can be very, very strange looking. Like, like a person would look at it like, what? That boy is doing this? Yeah, so that type shit, that type beat. And I was fighting with this like idea of me not having to prove nothing about me, all these depressive thoughts. And I was like, oh, it's actually like even kind of to some degree good for the future, because in the case in the future I'll get one of those, I will go in one of those states, because I can actually go in one of those states based on people. Let's say you're going out in the nature, and you're like, and people will be like, oh, what's your Instagram? And you're like, yeah, my Instagram is Captain Some to See. And they'll be like, hey, what? Captain Some to See? What the fuck is this? And this is the fact that I already put this idea, this depressive thought with my thought, I don't have to prove shit to nobody, even though in the future I will get the same or something familiar to it. I'll be able to maybe even retract myself to this point, fighting it yesterday. Even though it will happen in 2 months, I can still retract it. But I feel like I can retract it. Not to that shit. No, but yeah, I would be able to retract me to this point, fighting it yesterday, and I'll be like, yeah. It's like I don't have to give a shit, because I know even like depressive thoughts, I can fight against them. But also depressive thoughts, they are kind of showing you your lower natures to some degree, which I would say is not. It's not bad, because okay, you can be in your higher natures, be happy and stuff like that, be positive, be smart or something like that, logical and like giving a fuck. But also sometimes you have to take care of your lower nature, because you know which demons are there. You of course have them on your leash, on your like chains. You're having them chained up and you're controlling them sometimes depending on you. But it's also sometimes for you, I would say, maybe it would be good for you to just go down there in your hell, and just to look around who are sitting there, mm, in your hell. Because for example, not always you can maybe go in your depressive states, and it's like sometimes, as I mentioned before, like to use stuff as a flow, right? Not having these expectations, or not having this kind of knowledge and waiting for you to get more and more knowledge, but actually like using the flow as you're going. For example, yesterday I was in depressive mental state and depressive emotional state, which made my thoughts be kind of depressive to some degree. And I just used it as a flow for me to look around them, fight them, see which demons I'm dealing with down there. So I'll be like, oh, okay, I have this type of demons, and then you can go more further. You can even go to the background history of them even being in your place from the get-go. For example, let's say you're having all these depressive thoughts about your ego, about how you look like, and you can be like, okay, so I'm having these thoughts. It's all about my ego. It's about how I'm being seen in the public, let's say. And you can go and you can retract back in time if you have time, or just if you're like interested. But I would say that it's not bad for you to even retract it and just sit down for 5 minutes on your couch or your sofa and just like be like, okay, let me just focus and retract and go back in time. And you will go back in time, you will see like, okay, something triggered me like 2 weeks ago, then before that something triggered me like maybe 5 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago, something in my childhood, and you like little by little you will get to the core of it, and you'll be like, oh, okay, that's why. Because maybe there was like a little triggering point, and with time it was just growing and growing and growing, and different kind of aspects was triggering it too and shaping it up. So then it got more kind of heavier and more physical. Like if you are talking about demons, right, it got more physical, so there's actually a demon and not just a representation of it, but a full deity that is down there, which has its own like ecosystem around him, maybe his own kids that also spread out into different emotional or like mental states, I don't know. But yeah, and you would retrack it and you would be like, okay, that's the reason, and it's like then from there on you can build and stuff on further and further, and just kill it or just use it to your advantage. So like you will know, okay, this is because of that, but I can also take it on my leash and just have it before me, type shit like that, you know. So it's not like you're hiding it now, but you're actually having it on your leash, and now this little doggo goes around and sniffs the way and sniffs the people that are around because it smells way better. But it's like one of the allegories that could be also made. And also with that, I want to say something else about the yeah, but it's like that's basically the stuff. Because oh yeah, because let's say okay, so this kind of thingy from childhood that was triggered, and more triggered, and then got more shaped, more like more physical. And the thing is like maybe not always you'll be able to get to the core, because some shaping evolution of it was like a checkpoint later on, and you forgot about the first checkpoint. So it's like you're going from, let's say you have the first checkpoint and you're going more further, like the demon's shaping, and then like when you turn to be 12, something again like triggered it, and you maybe now at the point when you are like 22, 10 years later, you'll be thinking about, okay, what was the triggering point for me to even be in this state from in the like the first place. Maybe you'll get only till 12 years old because this checkpoint was also very like big and also very effective, and that's why maybe you'll forget the first checkpoint. But yeah, I wanted to say just like go maybe back in time and you will find the root of the problem, kind of. But the whole point of this kind of video is just like for you to even when you have depressive states, you can use it to your advantage. You don't have to run from it and I don't know, maybe take pills or just to go out in the park and listen to music or see like videos, play games because you want to get out of it. You can actually sit down and use it to your advantage, you know, in different ways. You can use it to your advantage in the case of like, let's say you're a musician or you like can make a drawing. So when you're in that state, you can actually make a drawing that represents that state, you know, not like fake it till you make it, but you actually make it because you make it, because you're in that bottom in the trenches or something like that. That's why you're a gangster rapper at this point, you know, and you're not faking the gangster shit for you to make it. Like the representation of faking it is like would be, for example, you're in a positive state but you're making a depressive song because you're not in depressive state, and it's like some maybe ideas and some little feelings that you want to put in a song would be kind of made up because you're guessing to some point. Or I mean, like, of course you can jump back into like the memories that you have about depressing thoughts and how they affected you, but also like if you're doing it straight away, like straight on the beat, you have like freshness. And let's say you just turn on the beat and you're in a depressive state or in a positive state, like here you have the freshness, here like all the fresh waters are going out. If you're using the old memories, you can also make them kind of fresh, but still it's like old memories, and not all of them you can know 100% as pinpointy as, for example, the ones that you are using right now, because they're so fresh that you're in the moment right now, you know, with this whole emotions. Yeah. So yeah, so that's how you could also use it, like your depressive states. Also, you could use your depressive states as a, let's say, an up, as a villain, as a antagonist who opposes your protagonist. So, for example, you think you're all this and that, but then you have this depressive world which tests you, and you fight it back with your like arguments, like here, okay, a depressive thought came up, like you ain't shit, and you're like, okay, why I'm not shit? Because he told me that I'm not shit, but I know I'm the shit, you know. So that's how you can also fight it. But yeah, there's like a lot of different ways how you can do it, basically. But the main point of this video, as I say again, as I mentioned before too, that doesn't matter the state, try to not drown in it, especially like the lower ones, you know. Not to drown it, I mean, in the case of, you can maybe run from it, but don't take it too personal. If you're in it, in that depressive state, don't take it too personal. Use it, but don't take it too personal. Use it as a bitch. You can run from it, but sometimes when you're running from it, you're kind of still drowning in it because you're trying to get out from it, you know. You're like, okay, you you got these depressive thoughts, and you're like, okay, let me listen to music. Now you're listening to music, trying to dance. Then you still get this like depressive thoughts, and you're like, shit, what the fuck, why I still have these depressive thoughts? And then your head just goes crazy, you know. So that's why I would say that running from it is still kind of, you can drown in it type shit. So yeah, so basically just use it as a bitch. All these depressive and maybe positive thoughts too, like just use it as a bitch, to your advantages, and just use the flow that you're in. So yeah, so don't be afraid of some depressive shit because you're in depressive state. Just use it as a bitch because you're in this flow at this moment, you know. So yeah, have fun.